Good morning. It's Eric of AriBo Arts, and we're here for some bat making. And I decided to take my shirt as inspiration, and we're going purple today. So, I'll let people gather. I'm going to drink the last of my English breakfast tea, second cup of the day. I have two Calf Kitson mugs, Calf Kitson mugs. It's a British retailer. I'm not sure if they actually still exist anymore, but I actually did buy this. I think I bought this one in Bath, the city of Bath in the UK. But the other one I often get from is sort of more of a grayscale one, also floral patterns. Calf Kitson was all about floral patterns and other patterns. And whenever I travel to Europe, it sort of happened, and now I've made it a tradition, is I always buy a mug or cup or travel thing. Yes, I could bring one from home, but then I wouldn't have a cool story to tell about it, right? And sorry, it's a piece of VM right there. And so this was, I think, that may have been when I started. I think I got this one first. May have been when I started that tradition. And I started that tradition because I was usually traveling with students. And then I'd put them on a plane, bye-bye, fly back to the U.S., and then I would stay and do research or go to conferences and things like that. And when I did that, I was staying in hostels. And sometimes you go to a hostel and there's like two mugs. Of course, somebody else has grabbed them. So you can't, or the cup, they're these tiny little teacups. And like, I need a substantial, nice, big mug. So these are 12 or 16. I think they're 12, but maybe they're bigger. And so it just became the tradition that I pick something up. So like it was January. I picked up a stainless steel insulated little travel cup at the British Museum that had the Rosetta Stone pattern on the outside. It wasn't quality high product. The metal piece in the middle sort of spun around, but it was great on the cruise when I wanted to have like make myself a cup of tea, put a cover on it, and then I could take it out on deck or something like that. Okay, enough about that. I'm gonna quick drink my last sip, and then we'll get started. These demos are also now being placed on my YouTube channel because after 30 days, Facebook will delete this. So if you're watching on my YouTube channel, hi. But if you're also watching in WAPA, hi. You get 2 hands for that one. Okay, so my base today is going to be this lovely, huge 8 ounces of... Let's see what this is. Oh, this is called Royal Purple. This is pure Coopworth. This is from a farm in Hidden Valley Farms and Woolen Mill up in Wisconsin. And I've done a couple festivals with them, and I always buy something because I like it. I mean, so yeah, it's a small mill. You get a little VM because it's Coopworth. You can see it's very fuzzy, right? And so what I guarantee is probably going to happen is we are going to fill up this drum carder here, the drum part, and we're going to be like, it's going to be so full and so heavy, and it's going to be like 2.1 ounces. Because there's just so much air in here. Okay? So, I'm going to, as we add stuff, because I'm still deciding on what's going in, we're not just going to do just the Coopworth. I'm going to actually take this just because it's big and bulky and put it behind me into a bag or a box that I got there. Okay. So I'm also going to just open it up a little bit. That also gives me a chance if I see more. There's like just occasionally little bits of hay or something. So opening it up, if I do it over the table, anything might fall out. And I can also sort of see it a little bit. It just, if it's flatter, it just goes on to the carder easier. Okay. Yeah, so I'm having fun having a YouTube channel. Everything so far has just been download and upload. I haven't edited anything. I did have to. I've got a handful of shorts up there. And the shorts are all they're either like old TikToks or reels that I've done that I was particularly proud of, so I downloaded them. And occasionally, what happens is, well, first of all, anything over a minute can't have music on it. I'm sure that's a copyright issue. And then I ran into a problem where one of the videos I had music that I couldn't use on YouTube. It said you can't use this. So I was like, okay, let's find some other music. So I had to edit that. Okay, so I think we'll just use that for the last layer. Okay, so I think this is silk. I'm not entirely sure. This was in a order from the Miller Girls. It wasn't well labeled. It was actually in a big bag with a bunch of other stuff. And I know I ordered some purple silk, but I also ordered purple bamboo. And a couple colors of purple bamboo. So I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that this is silk. It sort of kind of acts like it. I mean, it acts like commercial silk. It doesn't act like some of the other hand-dyed stuff. But we will put some of that on. I kind of want to stay with the purples. We'll see if I do anything contrasting or not. Then we have, this is some of that bamboo, often called moon jelly. I'm not going to put all this on. I just grabbed a big hunk out of there. Okay. Bit much there. Let's pick this up. It's a joy about doing this. You can sometimes fish it out and then reapply. Okay, what other sort of fun purple things do I have? That. This is Mulberry Silk Cloud, miscellaneous colors, and it's very clear that there is some Angelina in this purple. Also, crinkly bag. Look at that. It's sparkly. There's that. So this is just a Mulberry Silk waste product. I think if there's anything else over here I want to use. Let's peek over the edge. This is my rolling cart of add-ins. This one. This is Burr Fur from Fold Out Cat. No, it doesn't quite, not quite the right colors. And I don't want to put white in. I think we'll be okay just with this. Sometimes less is more. Don't tell Caitlin done that. I've done fine. Because she likes everything in all the sparkle. I still have ceiling fans going on. It is 63 degrees out, which is very nice. I'm just going to do like a little bit, like drag it across. Sort of go over and back. And then I'll put this with here. And then I'm going to have to press it all down. You'll see, I don't know if you can see it, but it's sort of riding on the surface. If it does that, it'll just transfer over to the liquor ends. So, okay. So there's just a little bit of it. So it's like not obnoxious if Angelina is not your friend, but just a little bit of twinkle, like here and there. I think that works. Okay. Okay, so immediately seeing a little bit of chaff. Get that out. Yeah, so I did a Facebook Live sale last night, so I'm sort of going through and invoicing people. I'm really excited for is I'm giving myself a mini retreat this weekend. I am packing up my wheel and a loom and possibly a knitting project. I bought some yarn. I think I've spoken about this in another video, but Hoosier Hills, I was across from a yarn dyer. It's kind of hard not to be across from a yarn dyer because so many yarn dyers at that show. And I've been staring at her yarn all weekend. I finally, at the end, I gave in and I bought 4.5 skeins. She had some little half skeins as well. And didn't know what I was going to do. I wanted to make some. I'm trying to make more of my clothes. And, oh, might rain. It's getting a little darker in here. And so I finally gave in, bought some stuff. But she also did, she dyed in batches of 2 instead of 4 is more traditional. She did batches of 2. And so I bought 2 of one color and 2 of another so I could do something that was sort of a half and a half type of thing. And I finally found a pattern I liked. It was something I'd seen at another show and taken a photo of both the garment and then the tag so I could look up the pattern, which I have. And I looked it over. It's all, I'm a knitter. I'm not like an advanced knitter. I don't do a lot of color work. I know what I like to do and I do what I do, that type of thing. I'm not someone who's like, oh, I got to go try this Portuguese whatever method and stuff like that. But I looked it over and all the stitches are things I know how to do. And so I bookmarked it, but I think I might buy it later today. And then I have to find out if I actually have the right needles for it. Yeah, it's getting dark. It's supposed to rain between now and noon, or possibly showers in the area, I think is what they put. And by the way, if you're watching and you have questions, please leave a comment, and I'll get back to you, whether this is on Waffle or YouTube. So I if I have the right needles, I don't have any of those interchangeable kit things. So you always have the full set. I'm a old school. I mean, I use circulars, but I'm a sort of old school. I mean, I like double pointed needles. That tells you something, right? Okay. Anyway, so taking a knitting project is a possibility as well. So I'm going camping. Fortunately, the weather looks really nice, though. It's going to get down to 40 degrees at night. So I am packing the wool blanket and the down throw. I'm going to camp in my van and set up all the fiber art stuff in my tent and just hang out and make stuff. And maybe go for a walk in the woods. So, camping by one of the lakes in Iowa. So it'll be nice. I'll put a little more on here. So I will be in the Waffle Show at the end of the month. I don't know if this bat will be there. I do have a in-person show in the middle of the month. The other things I'm thinking about doing is actually starting, yes, I only just started this YouTube channel at the end of August. But starting yet another one. 'Cause people are always sort of interested in the traveling I do, both in terms of, fiber artists, 'cause I'm traveling to all these festivals and I'm camping and all that. But also occasionally I do a big trip, like the cruise I did last January, and so forth. So, I don't know. I might. Those would have to be edited. That's the problem. Editing takes forever. And then, I'd have to figure out what editing apps to use. Okay, I got some big clumps here, so let's sort of pull these out. Relocate that back there. Okay, that one won't come up. The other thing is I'm going to probably have to get a new phone. Trying to keep this video under 30 minutes because my phone is not holding its charge. It's not even 2 years old. It's not holding its charge as well as it should. Probably at some point I'm going to have to bite the bullet and get an updated phone. Phones are just ridiculously expensive. Even if I get older ones, like, this is a Pixel 5. So anytime it sticks to the liquor in here, I just use this is a 3mm. I think this is one of my mom's knitting needles. I've repurposed it to get to poke in between the teeth, because you want something thinner than the teeth. So apart from prepping for upcoming shows, I've also been, those of you who know the saga of what happened on the cruise in January, know that I got credited back the full cost of my stateroom in the form of a voucher for a future cruise, which I am taking next year. And so I am currently doing the planning for that. So I can book tickets for things while it's still let me put it this way, cheaper than it would be if I did it closer to when I was going. So I may work on that a little bit today. Got to do some paperwork, that pesky tax paperwork stuff. Got a couple of shows I gotta pay for, or the camping at those shows. I think I've got enough of this that I could do 2 bats. And as it gets fuller, and I put this on, I'm actually just gonna tap down each section. Makes less of a mess that way. And if it's raining, I'm not going to go out to my garden. I'm hoping the basil does okay when it gets down to something like 40 degrees. Next week, I'm planning on making pesto. I have 8 very large basil plants in my garden because I want to have a year's supply of pesto. And I should probably harvest some other things. Oh, yeah. There's one. See it? Can I get to it? Is it on the other side? It's on the other side. And these are just sort of light pieces of chaff or whatever. Yes, I'm keeping an eye on the time. When I did a live last night, half an hour got me down to 50%. If I hit 30%, I will get kicked off because that's when my battery saver kicks in. And I have learned from experience, it used to be set at 50%. And so when I did a longer demo, and if I wasn't charged all the way and I would hit 50%, I would get kicked off and then I would have to come back on. So that's when I went and changed it to 30%. So what I'm trying to do is get thin amounts on here, not big clumps. Because if you're spinning and you encounter a big clump, it's it can be annoying. Some people like it, some people don't. So I try to be thinner about it. I think it also depends on how thick you're spinning. Eloise says, Eloise, what do you want, sweetie? She's come and meowed. I don't know if she wants food. She had food. Could be she wants me to play. She's got this pink ribbon, and she will sit beside it and do this little howl oh, please play with me. And she really wants it to go sort of, like that on the floor so that she can stomp on it. She's a stomper. Grab it with her little paws. And sometimes I'll find her playing with it by herself. And I'm so glad she doesn't do it to yarn, which I'm very, very happy about. Because you shouldn't really play with cats with yarn, because particularly if they're doing sort of prey type of playing, and one of my old cats, Ari, he's the Ari in AriBo. He was playing all excited. It was and it was a shorter piece. I think I had woven in ends and clipped it, and I was trying to finish this item before it was a present for someone, and it was they were going to be going on a trip, and I wanted to get it to them beforehand. And he was all excited, playing with this thing, throwing it up in the air. And then they just sort of stopped. They walked away, and I couldn't find it. And I was like, Ari, did you eat that piece of yarn? And of course he won't tell me, right? And this was New Year's Eve. And so I called the vet, and they're like, well, we're open for another 2 hours or whatever. Bring him in. And so I brought him in, and they induced vomiting, which turns out one of the ways they do it is they put hydrogen peroxide in their eye. They tried other things first, but that didn't work. So they put the hydrogen peroxide in them, which I didn't know. They didn't tell me this till afterwards. And 5 minutes later, they come out with a little plastic baggie with the piece of yarn and stomach bile in it. And they were like, it's a good thing you brought him in, because if it, no one was going to be open on New Year's Day, and that stuff can twist around their intestines and cut through intestines and all sorts of things. So don't play with yarn with your cats, okay? So I think we'll do one more layer, and then we'll be done. But when I got him home, at that point I noticed that his eye looked really funny. It was like all, water. It was irritated and it was all weepy. And so I'm like, called them and I'm like, what did you do to my cat? And they're like, it's okay. It's just hydrogen peroxide. He will be okay. It's just how we induce vomiting. And when the other methods don't work. Okay, last layer. So if you have a name suggestion, please pop it in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, it's already been named. In fact, I will probably, in the description of the video, tell you what the name is. Otherwise, it's just going to say Battmaking with AriBo Arts and today's date. So, hang on a little more over here. Can't do grape soda. I've done that one before. Oh yeah, this is definitely the last layer. It's getting full. We'll start the guessing game in a second. Just want to get everything on this layer I can. It's getting a little harder to get things on because in certain areas there's not really any room between the teeth. And so it doesn't grab the other fibers very well. Okay, last little bit of sparkly fluff. We'll see if any sticks to the drum or if it's completely going to go to the liquor in. In fact, I think I'm just going to immediately do that. Some over here. So that's kind of a big plot. We'll pull a little bit off there. Sort of void right there. We'll fill that in. And when I tease it out, because after I take it off, I will, not on camera, but I will sort of fluff it outwards. So this will become spaced out more. Okay, we are done. Okay, so I'm just going to I'm going to put that back there where it's safe. I'm going to pop this down here with the bamboo I was using. So I'm going to make another one of these in a little bit. I'm going to get a piece of paper and my pen. And then I'm going to write down what, that's Coopworth. And if I could spell Coopworth properly, that would be good. Coopworth, just in case you're wondering, is Coopworth. I've seen some people spell it with an A, but that could be a British spelling. So it's got the Coopworth, it's got the bamboo, it's got the we think it's silk, and then we got the mulberry silk with Angela. Okay, time to break the bat, and time for you to think about make a guess of how much this weighs. Person who gets closest, and currently I only see one person watching, so you're going to get closest. You win trophy emojis. It's very exciting. And bragging rights until next week. And there will be a Battmaking with AriBo Arts next Wednesday. The Wednesday after that, probably not, because everything goes according to plan, and plans do change. I will be on my way to a show out of state. I'm going to try and leave at 3 a.m. we'll see if that happens. It's a very, very long drive. Fortunately, it's all in the same time zone, though. I'm driving south. Because the next day is move-in, and it's a 3-day show. So. Okay, so now I am taking this left-hand edge. And by the way, just so you know, and I probably should remember to say this in every video, I'm on an Android phone, so everything you're seeing is backwards. In fact, if I held up text, you would see it was backwards. Okay. I'm going to get out my knitting needle again, in case I need to save any fiber from sticking. But anyways, I press it back into the dopper crease there on that left-hand side, so that the end doesn't get pulled all the way across this drum here when it goes back, passes back to the liquor in. Just makes for a neater back. You don't have to do that. I just like to do it because I don't like a super messy drum at the end. It's coming off pretty good. I think it's going to be a little harder at the... Oh, no. There we go. Okay. Tiny bit of carding, and I knew the carding bit was going to be the Mulberry Silk Cloud. Okay. So, before fluffing, this is what it looks like. Looks like this part right here, right? Looks like it sort of fell over. So we'll just sort of place that back up there. Okay. So we got to do the weight. Look how thick that is. That is thick. It's that Cooper. It's so fluffy. I was gonna say, if I had my breed book, which is not, it's in my command center that I take to shows. I would show you a picture of a Cooper. Okay, you're being like, turn that off and turn it on again. It was like cycling through all the numbers. Okay, there, much better. Okay, teared it out, and actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just sort of take this. This is so fluffy. So this is your chance to guess the weight. Whoever's watching. If you're watching later, you can just sort of guess on your own, just to guess. You know, like you do with Jeopardy, right? See how good you are with it. Okay, here we go. 2.9. Stop moving. 4. 2.94. Okay, there's a piece of paper. Down. 2.94. So I actually did get a lot on there. Okay. I'm just making sure I'm right. I'm having to round the numbers a little bit. Okay. So 2.94. I will take some photos of this later and put it up. I'll check whatever name suggestions have been popped in the comments. Otherwise, I'll come up with a name for it. So, thank you very much for tuning in. And I will see you around on Facebook and on YouTube. Take care.